What's up? I'm Mitch, aka Suburban Bastard, and we're here in the beautiful Sedona, Arizona. There's not much about Sedona that hasn't already been said. The rocks are red, the McDonald's is blue, and this is a beautiful landscape out here in Arizona. So I figured it was as good a place as any to show off my new house, aka this overlanding Tacoma with a rooftop tent and, most importantly, fishing rod storage. Usually I'm fishing, but there's no water out here in Sedona, so I thought it would be cool to show off the rooftop tent and truck that I've been living out of for the past 2 months, just in case you guys were curious about setting up your own overlanding build, or maybe you're just curious about how I've been living for the past 2 months, you know? A lot of people get curious about living in a vehicle, and this one is definitely an upgrade over that busted old van that got smashed by a tree in Idaho. My typical nightly routine for the past few months has just been to open Overlander, which is a great app for finding free places to camp. It will take you right to some awesome spots, and it's all publicly available and way easier than doing all your own research or checking Google Maps and finding spots that may or may not be fenced off, that may or may not be private property. It's just really hard to tell from the satellite view whether or not you're actually going to be able to sleep there. So it's good to use Overlander where someone else has already done all that work and checking the place out for you. Then I'll just drive down a dusty dirt road, set up the tent, cook something to eat, and get ready for the next day of adventuring out here in the Southwest. I'm basically getting a view like this from my bedroom. It's kind of unmatched. This is a Tacoma TRD off-road 4x4, basically just stock, but you know I had to add the TRD stripes. I mean, we gotta decorate her a little bit. The tent is a Roofnest Condor XL that I got used on Craigslist, and it's obviously way too big for just me, but hey, that's not really a bad thing. I mean, you know, more room is better than less room. I was worried this thing was gonna be a waste of money, but it's definitely way more convenient to set up than a ground tent, especially with the sleeping pad and everything. Who wants to inflate one of those things every night? It only takes about 5 minutes to set up, maybe about 7 minutes to put down, and that's definitely super convenient when you're doing that every day for 2 months straight. I mean, I think I would drive myself crazy inflating a sleeping pad every single day and deflating it every single night. Just getting it back in the roll is enough to just kind of make me mad. So you can probably tell this is a huge space. I got all my bedding up here. It just stays in the tent when it collapses. So super convenient, and I have a ton of bedding. Got a wool blanket, 25-degree sleeping bag, 30-something degree sleeping bag, another blanket, and a pillow, of course. So I'm set in here, man. Even if it's really cold, which it was up in Washington, I'm telling you, those nights around right near were tough. But I stayed pretty warm out here. Stayed pretty warm up here. Now it actually gets too hot. I was sleeping in the Mojave last night, and man, those mornings are you just wake up sweating. But there's not much you can do about that. I mean, it would be like that in a regular tent too. I'm pretty sure I could fit like 3 people up here, but it's just me all on my lonesome. The only problem is there's supposed to be another window out here so I could get even more lighting, even more ventilation, and an even better view of the beautiful red rocks. But I can't set up this window because the supports would get stuck on the cab right here. You can see they kind of bend out, and they just won't fit. So that's kind of a shame. I have to strap it down, and I only get 2 windows. It might be kind of hard to see in this lighting, but the finish is already peeling off. And I was looking online. Apparently when you first buy it, it has like a plastic wrap on it, and you're supposed to peel that off before you use it. Otherwise the sun and the elements will first of all cake it on to the hardtop itself, and then after that it'll kind of start to peel like this. You can see it's just, you know, it's just kind of gross and plasticky looking. You can't really see that from the road or anything, but when it's set up like this, it's kind of an eyesore. Just something to keep in mind, especially if you're getting one of these secondhand. You know, ask the guy if he took off the plastic finish because it just cakes and peels, and it's kind of gross. For something this expensive, you'd think it would hold up better. These RCI rails I have right here are pretty cool. You see, I got this on Craigslist too, and I got a really good deal on the rails, to be honest. I mean, they were only like $100, but they came with these cool little things, so I could attach a shovel or maybe some traction boards or something in the future. We don't have anything like that right now, but you know, it's pretty cool. I would probably flip them to the inside, so if they fall off, then it doesn't just fall onto the highway, because I don't know if I really trust these things to hold a shovel on the highway speeds, but maybe they could. And the bed is attached to the rail system. If you're not familiar with the Tacoma, it comes with a super convenient rail system and these stock bolts that are rated for like 200 pounds. So yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I got 2 of them on here. I'm not sure if that translates to 400 pounds, but the rail and the bed itself probably only weighs about 250 pounds, I would say. I think the tent is about 150 pounds, which isn't a crazy amount of weight to have mounted up there. I'm not really too worried about it. I have had 0 issues over the past 2 months. And we have not only been driving on paved roads. I mean, we've been going up and down mountains, and it has not failed us yet. So, you know, fingers crossed. And considering this is a full-size bed, you have a ton of space for everything that you need. You can see I got food, cooler, more food, clothes, a random horse skull, just for decoration, pretty much. I found it in the prior mountains of Montana. Basically right after I got the truck, so I thought that was super cool. Had to bring him with me. He's good vibes. And pro tip, if you don't want people messing with your stuff, just put dead animals on it. Now, the one bad thing about these molly boards is it does make it unnecessarily difficult to get to things that are in the back of the bed. You can see if I want to get clothes back here, I gotta kind of maneuver. You know, if I want this boot, I gotta kind of you know, it's not crazy difficult. There we go. We got our boot. But they're just kind of an inconvenience. In my opinion, the most innovative part of this overlanding build, and honestly what kind of makes it worth a video in my opinion, is this fishing rod rack. It's really unique. I've never seen anyone build anything like this. I spent a ton of time Googling around for ideas, and I didn't see anything like this. I had to make this just all up on the fly. So basically what it is 2 load bars. You can see you got some back here and you got some in the very back near the cab. And these things are just kind of in there with pressure. I mean, it's just friction keeping them in there. They fit perfectly right in that little section though. It's almost like it was made for that. But yeah, they're super cool. You know, you can use this to release it or whatever. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because all my fishing rods would fall and it would take forever to get them back up. But you know, you're just gonna have to trust me. It just clamps right in there. And then we got this nice ski rack on here. So this is a roof rack for skis, but we have it attached to this these bed bars here. And yeah, it holds fishing rods perfectly. You can see they kind of hang out over the edge, but not any further than your tailgate, really. So that's something. And yeah, I mean, they just clamp open, clamp shut. You can lock them here with this little key. I got the key in my pocket, obviously, but you know, you can lock it. You gotta believe me, which was important because you don't want to just have your expensive fishing rods hanging out of the back of your truck for anyone to grab. This way, at least they're a little locked up and you're not really gonna be able to get them out that easily. I mean, you could get it out if you broke it. Honestly, the reels are still detached. The reels aren't locked up, so someone could steal the reels, but I'm just gonna have to, you know, cross my fingers, hope for some good karma, and maybe nobody will steal them. So yeah, there's 2 of these fishing, not fishing rod racks. They are ski racks. So these are meant for skis to go on the top of your car, but I'm obviously using them for fishing rods and they work fine. You can see they just kind of mold around the butt of the fishing rod and you can fit some pretty big fishing rods in there. No problem. You know, I've seen a lot of overlanding builds, but I have not seen one with a fishing rod holder. So hopefully you guys found that interesting. If anything in this video is going to inspire you, then I think that's it. Speaking of fishing gear, we definitely still had room for the old paddleboard and the paddleboard seat. We got the nets back there, and the paddle is in here somewhere. There it is. So yeah, everything from the van fit perfectly in the bed of the truck, which was kind of surprising. It took a little Tetris kind of thinking. You can see my little Bionicle mask is front and center now, protecting us from the trees. And of course, Bigfoot's still here too. In the back seat, because it is a crew cab, so technically they say you could fit people back there. I'm not gonna take everything out to show you how cramped it is, but it would be a tight squeeze. There's not a lot of leg room. And yeah, this is where I keep all my fishing stuff. So this is all of my fishing lures just in this bucket that's absolutely filled to the brim with fishing stuff. Any kind of lure you can imagine, it's in here. Shout out to One Rod, One Reel for giving me like half of these. But yeah, then I got some extra clothes. Electronics are back there. And yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, this thing fits a lot of stuff. Shout out to the Jackery Explorer 1000, by the way. This is my only real source of electricity, and it holds about a week's worth of electricity. You could probably charge your phone on it, you know, like 30 times. So that's pretty good. It definitely works. That was another gift from One Rod, One Reel, the famous fishing YouTuber. I figured I'd show you guys the process of folding this thing up also, just so you can kind of get a feel of what it's like and how it compares to a ground tent. So the first step is just to shove all of this bedding into the far side over here. So yeah, you gotta ruin your little setup every day, but you know, it's not a big deal. And yeah, so you just get it all in there like that. And then you gotta get these posts out from the windows. So yeah, getting these things down is pretty simple. Just yank on it, pull it out, easy as. Then I just throw these bad boys in there somewhere they're not gonna pierce the mattress. You take this little strap, wrap it all the way around. Usually I'll clip it onto here, and just like that, it kind of helps keep all of the fabric together. So then you just take the ladder, click these buttons in, fold it up, fold the bed. Now, this is the only part that really gives me any trouble at all. You just gotta fold this baby down and make sure all that tent material gets in there. Then I usually like to hold on to here when I jump off. Get the other side. Just kind of stuff it all in there. There's not really a right or a wrong way to do it. Then you just kind of squish down the top, put these straps through, and clinch them shut. So yeah, as you can see, when you're actually driving, it fits pretty nicely behind the cab. There's a little bit sticking out over, and that causes a little bit of air resistance because I'm using 12-inch bars, but it's really not that big of a deal. I haven't noticed a huge difference. Even with those bed bars and that whole tent being hauled around, this thing is still getting about 20 to the gallon. So that's not bad for a Tacoma. And it's worth noting that with the taller bars, you can actually see out your rear view window. You can see I still got plenty of visibility from the back. So that's definitely a plus to having some taller bars, even if you're losing a little bit of gas mileage. So that's how I've been living for the past 2 months. Pretty comfortable, can't lie. I mean, this thing will go anywhere. It's a very good off-roading vehicle. You got a lot of clearance, especially compared to that little minivan I was living out of, and you can reach some awesome camping spots. And camping has been super comfortable in this oversized Roofnest Condor. I mean, this thing's absolutely huge. Feels like a whole living room, to be honest, especially after being cramped up in that little van that could hardly fit a half single bed. So I'm on my way back to the East Coast, but I think after that, fingers crossed, our next stop should be Palm Beach, Florida for the winter. So I got a job interview down there and it went pretty well. You know, again, fingers crossed. I don't know what's gonna happen yet, but make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys wanna see me living out of that tent in Palm Beach, Florida, doing a whole bunch of fishing, saltwater, bass fishing. Maybe we'll even catch an alligator or an iguana or something. Who knows? But for now, we're still out here in the beautiful Southwest, just enjoying the red rocks and going on some nice hikes. So thanks for watching. See you on the next one.